Yo, what's good, party people in the place to be? Welcome to Old School Knicks. I'm your man, Uncle Freezy. What's good? Anthony D will be along shortly, of course. Of course. Anthony D is doing his thing. He'll be here in a second. I want to show y'all a little something. Where is it? I got some stuff. Hold on. All right, let me run some stuff real quick. You are watching Live with Baked Beans. Yo, Mr. AD, what's good?
Freezy.
What's good?
What's good, baby? Are we live?
Yes, we are live. We are live.
Good morning, Nick Nation,
sir.
Nick Universe, Uncle Freezy. To everybody out there, thank you for joining the realest morning show out here in these streets. Old school with Uncle Freezy and myself. Let's get it, Freezy. Where we going this morning?
Okay, so give me about 90 seconds, right? I just need about 90 seconds. I want to say this thing. And I know you're gonna be like, man, I already heard this before, and this is the reason why I'm telling you. Yo, so we drafted him, man, but all our stupid coach need to do is give him more minutes. You know, he gonna be a good player. You know, he do such and such real good, but the coach so dumb, he won't give him no minutes. He playing him and he playing him out of position. The dude that's playing in front of him ain't no good, right? AD, you know when I first heard that? You know what I first heard that narrative?
Please tell me.
Kenny Skywalker.
Oh God.
You remember Kenny Walker? You remember Kenny Walker? the light-skinned dude, the dude that people say they thought he was tough, but as a Knicks fan, I knew he was soft. It's like, but he looks so, but he be making mean faces. Oh, really? Making mean faces make you tough? And so I heard this. I heard the narrative again with a kid named Jerry and Grant, right? Yeah, Jerry and Grant got all the man. He got great size for a point guard, man. He's super athletic. All he needs is a jump shot, and the stupid coach won't give him no minutes. Yeah, Jerry and Grant was a bust, right? I also heard it on the French point guard. What's his name? You remember the French point guard we drafted instead of Donovan Mitchell?
Yes. My God.
Yo, he played defense real good, man. He got good size for his position, man. You know, the stupid coach just won't give him no minutes. And then I also heard it about Kevin Knox. Oh, man, he got good size for his position. The stupid coach just won't play him, won't give him no minutes. You know, he can shoot the hell out that thing. He can shoot. And so guess what? The last 3 weeks, guess what I've been hearing? Obi Toppin.
Is this a rhetorical question? Is this a rhetorical question? You told me to give you your 90 seconds. Is your
90 seconds up? I'm sorry, my 90 seconds up.
You see,
it's been up.
You see, Nick Universe, I thought this was a beige rage moment. You know, light-skinned brother hating on light-skinned brother. It's not that.
No.
It's you want to eat all of your young.
That might be
That's what this is.
That
right?
That might be it.
But I want to harken back to a time not so long ago, maybe like a month ago,
okay,
when all of the talk was Obi's only averaging 13 minutes a game. Because up until a month ago, all we saw was the work he put in a short off season, and he came out the gate gangbusters, running, jumping, defense better, everything better. This narrative that you've come up with was not there 2 months ago, because even you, my friend, who wants to eat his young, and you've already started on the leg, you're working your way up.
Yeah.
You're working your way up to breast and thigh man, and all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Had to say he looked like something. We need to figure this out.
Yeah.
But because of Thibodeau and his confusion, him fighting for his survival, him fighting for his life, and now he's playing Obi Toppin. He played Obi Toppin 19 minutes in 2 games.
Yes.
After the game that preceded that, he played 40 some odd minutes, scored 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That was his stat line.
He had 5 rebounds in the first quarter.
But it don't matter. They still his. Right? At the end of the day, they still his. Right? They still his stats.
All right.
Right?
All right.
Ever since that game, all of a sudden now, he's now thrown him back to the back seat for the long drive, and I don't care about you anymore. And we saw what can happen when our Frenchman, when our sniper, who can only snipe his former team, is not playing. We got our what's handed to us last night. And here you want to start off a Sunday morning when people are fresh, either going to church or coming from church, with this blasphemy. Have you no shame?
No, I do not, because I started this conversation with that because I want to talk about the Knicks all-time rookies and why when we make a draft pick, when we make a draft pick, things go sideways, but when other teams make draft picks, things go great.
Because it's not a direct science, Freezy. If it was, we'd have won a championship already by just our draft picks. But that's a good topic to kick off, or a good second leg, since you already ate the first leg in the first part of the show. Because you want to kill our young. You know what I'm saying? I want to go back to a little bit before we go there for the all-time picks or whatever. I want to talk a little bit about, Kenny Walker.
Right.
Who he was coming out of Kentucky. At that time in the NBA, teams that was trying to gain success, you against a certain rival, in a division foe,
right? You
matched up. The Knicks drafted Kenny Walker because Boston had Kevin McHale.
Okay.
And somewhere in their thinking, Kenny Walker, who was a good college player,
great,
but whose game was not going to translate into the NBA because he's 6'8", 210.
Right.
Without a jumper.
Right.
And not a true post game.
No rebounding.
And he was not a good rebounder at all.
Because he was not an NBA style power forward.
No, he was, a couple of teams kind of made that similar mistake. Boston drafted like a year or two later Brad Sellers, who was 7 feet tall.
Yes.
210 pounds.
He stayed in the league for a while though.
He stayed in the league for a while because that's what happens when you're 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
There's a check for you for a while.
Yeah, he made his money with the Bulls, right?
Yeah, he made most of his money with the Bulls, but when you're 7 feet tall, think Uwe Blab.
Oh no!
John Concac. The list goes on. When you're 7 feet tall, there's a check for you, baby. You may not like it.
You remember Dwayne
Shinsis? Yeah, from out of Florida. when you're 7 feet, when you're
boy.
7 feet tall, the world looks at you like you're King Kong.
Yeah.
You may think of yourself as Spud Webb, but the world sees you as I can put 4 other guys around you, and off we go.
Yeah.
Hence why a team drafted Michael Olowokandi off of a half a college season.
Oh, at Pacific.
At
At
Pacific.
Pacific. Bro, he ain't played nobody for 2 years.
2 years, he ain't played nobody.
He played nobody. The dude was calling him Bill Russell.
They were calling him Akeem Olajuwon.
Remember that they was like, he is more athletic than Olajuwon. And,
Yes,
and truth be told, I don't think they were far off, right? The dude was athletic, but athleticism at 7 foot does not make you a great player, right?
Athleticism and skill is 2 different things.
Yes, yes. And heart.
And heart is 2 different things. And he was one of those guys, Benoit Benjamin. I can go on. I can go on.
No, please don't.
When you're 7 feet tall, 7 feet doesn't mean it covers up your lack of skill. So
toughness, man.
Or toughness. But in correlation to my point with the Kenny Walker, the first couple of those guys were just very thin body bigs.
Yeah.
Kenny Walker, when they drafted Kenny Walker, I don't know if you remember this guy. I'm sure you should. He used to be on Channel 11 at 10 o'clock. He used to do the sports. His name was Jerry Gerard.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Gerard. Yeah.
Right. And Jerry Gerard, because that's when Channel 11 was WPIX.
Yep.
And Jerry Gerard used to give you like a real cynical point of view. And I remember the night when they drafted him, he went and he was showing his clips and he went, they drafted this guy to guard Kevin McHale. He did like a cornerstone Kev. He went, I don't know about that.
Bro, my goodness.
But he was right. And it only went, Trent Tucker spoke about a time, like his first practice. He said they're online, about to do a layup drill, whatever. And all of a sudden, Kenny Walker started having spasms and he falls down. Nobody touched him, no nothing. He just fell down. And they were like, this is his first practice. First preseason practice. And they had to like whisk him out of the gym.
Who was the coach? Rick Pitino or Stu?
No, his first coach is Bob Hill.
Bob Hill from the Spurs.
Bob Hill. Bob Hill is his coach. Bob Hill. And they were coming into the season, they had like a new marketing scheme. They were calling it the Skyline with Ewing, Cartwright, Walker.
Yeah.
The Skyline, because his name was Kenny Sky Walker.
Yeah.
So literally, they were already removing the marketing stuff that they had with Ewing. They just drafted like the previous year.
Yeah.
And they're
2 years, right? 2 years before, I think.
Because he came out in 86. Yeah, 2 years. Right.
No, Walker came out in 87, right?
No, Walker
and Jackson came out 86. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it's a year later, after all the pandemonium with Ewing, you're switching your allegiance a little bit to your marketing team is going with the Skyline.
Right. And
he could never recover from that. Kenny Walker, and as a couple years later, when the Nets did the same thing by drafting Ed O'Bannon, great college player, but doesn't have the NBA body or game to compete.
Right.
And I remember Kenny crying on the court.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Rick Pitino's talking to him, and the fans are raining down boos on Kenny Walker.
Right.
The boos are coming in buckets.
Right.
and he cried on the court.
Yeah.
Right. His saving grace was that he went to the slam dunk competition, and because we disliked him so much, we forgot that he could jump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he pulled out some moves out of his bag that made us all think that, well, maybe there's a saving grace here.
Maybe there's something to it. Yeah.
He gonna do these dunks in the game.
Yeah.
Never did.
Right. Right.
And I'm upset at you, Freezy, because you liken Obi Toppin and Obi Toppin's zest for the game to Kenny Walker. I can tell you this right now: Obi Toppin ain't gonna be balling on the court no time soon.
Oh, he ain't gonna be crying.
You know, Obi Toppin needs, and I mentioned this in another show, he needs for management to see his worth or see him out of town. There ain't no gray in there. You see, on your show earlier this week, I mentioned Utah Jazz drafted Karl Malone with Thurl Bailey and and Adrian Dantley.
Yeah, Adrian Dantley.
Adrian Dantley on the team.
Yeah.
They had to trade Adrian Dantley because he was not the future. He was the past. And Adrian Dantley at that time was 30 years old, 29, 30, something like that.
He was still a bucket. He was still a bucket, but he
was more than a bucket. He was many buckets.
Yeah.
Right? And it wasn't no thought of, well, maybe these guys can work together. No, Utah was like, no, this guy's out of here. We got to get him out of here. We just drafted this dude, number 10 overall in the same Ewing draft?
Yeah.
We got Karl Malone, and we drafted Stockton in that same draft. Okay, there's some synergy here. There's some chemistry here. We didn't win anything with Adrian Dantley. Detroit is on the move. Detroit sees him as a piece to help them get to the finals. We can get a first-round draft pick. Move him out.
Yep.
Right? And that's what you have to do when you have young talent. You have to procure that. You know what I'm saying? Not every pick there's some picks you're gonna make that's gonna be Marseille Lampe.
Yeah.
That's the numbers game.
Yeah, there are gonna be some Michael Jacksons that you draft.
There's gonna be some. I remember when the Knicks took Michael Jackson in the 3rd round, when the draft was still 3 rounds, 3 and 4 rounds. Yeah. And I was like, all right, obviously they picked him because he's Ewing's teammate. Yeah. And Pat probably said something to them. Yeah. He didn't get out of preseason camp.
No, he didn't. It was trash.
But he was a great college point guard on a great college team.
Right.
But he could not get out of preseason camp.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Not everybody you draft that comes into this game is ready for this game. This game is something different. In that same Kenny Walker draft, I wanted Walter Berry.
Oh, come on.
St. John's guy. Walter Berry. Walter had just come off of being College Player of the Year. Yep. The year before that, he took St. John's with Chris Mullin
to the Final
Four.
Yeah.
Walter Berry was 2-time Junior College Player of the Year. In both years he was there, Walter Berry was known. Left-handed, you could not do anything with him in the post.
Right.
Boxing one, whatever defense you tried with Walter Berry, he was just so smooth with that left hand, the short jumper, the turn off the pivot turn off the reverse side, when he's left-handed turning on the wrong side, you couldn't stop Walter Berry if you tried.
You couldn't.
Walter Berry gets to the NBA, and I'm quoting him verbatim. He said, "I didn't realize how big and strong these men were.
Right.
He
Right.
lasted like 2 years.
Yep. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And to his credit, it wasn't an indictment on him as a player. It's the level of competition. When you take that step up in competition from one level to the next, is huge. Like for instance, when I hear people say, "Well, he was putting up 32 points a game in the G League. He should be able to do something in the league." Nah, no, no. You not if you put up 32 in the G League, you're not coming putting up 32 in the NBA.
No.
You're not even putting up 20, averaging
No.
20 in the NBA for long. You might score 20 once or twice, but you ain't ready to do that no 82 games. And you in the G League, and you so if you out of high school and you still learning, and you might put up 18 in the G League, 20 in the G League, then there might be a future for you because you still growing as a player. But if you 22, 23, you in the G League and you putting up 32, no.
All that shows is that you can go back to the big league and sit comfortably on the bench until we call your number.
Right. And you can come in and contribute a little bit.
You can come and contribute spot duty here and there. That reminds me of there's a,
Hey, what's up, boss?
you remember hey, Sergeant for life, give me 10 while I'm talking, while I'm building on the point.
Yeah.
And you remember the show Happy Days?
Yeah.
And Richie Cunningham and his crew, he had a dude in his crew named Ralph Mouth.
Ralph Mouth, the redhead.
The redhead.
Yeah.
And Richie Cunningham, he was, he wasn't a basketball star, but how they built around this particular show, he was the guy,
Right.
for this particular show. So something happens where he's, he hits the game-winning shot one week, and then the second week he's got to hit the game-winning shot again, or he's at the free throw line for it. But something happens, somebody fouls out, and the coach turns to Ralph Mouth and he goes, "Mouth, get in the game." Right?
Yeah.
Mouth gets up, and Mouth is on the sideline. Mouth got a couple of shorties. His head is nowhere near this game, and that's when he had the old warm-ups, the zip-up warm-ups.
Yeah.
Mouth goes, "Coach, who? Me? All right." Mouth zips down his warm-ups. Mouth got on. He got on. What's that? He got on flannels and jeans. Jeans.
He didn't expect him to play.
Right, and the coach was like, "Yo, go in the back," because Mouth knew I wasn't here to play. I'm just here to fill out the roster.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like one of my favorite episodes in Happy Days. Shout out, Happy Days and the Fonz and all those people.
Yeah. And Potsy, Ralph Mouth, Richie.
What? But for young folks who want some good old clean comedy, you ain't gonna see no black people on there too. Some clean, wholesome, but just some clean, wholesome comedy that you ain't got to worry about, your kids watching. Take a look at Happy. Shout out to them. I remember them vividly.
Yeah, man. G-Man,
drinking drinks
at Arnold's.
Arnold's, yeah.
Yeah, remember they had Arnold's in the same
Arnold's.
Booth. Yeah.
Everybody got their own booth.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the funniest thing was that show right now with the character Fonzie, they would take it off TV because the Me Too movement and the women's movement would move him, because remember, he used to just snap his fingers and the chicks would come running.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He walked in the place with his jacket, not even two snaps, but one. And you talking 10, 15 chicks running. Boom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Try that today.
Oh, man, please.
Try that today.
Please. You remember how they used to always tell Fonzie the jukebox broke? Why is it so quiet in here? Hey, Fonzie, the jukebox broke. And Fonzie used to come over to the jukebox and then elbow it and then play everybody's songs for free. Remember that?
Or just touch it. Just touch it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Man.
So, shout out to those times when it was just, G-Man, what's good, baby?
G-Man froze. His joint froze. He did.
Oh,
But,
froze up.
yeah, but yeah, man. So the point I was getting at is not that I don't want to do Obi bashing, bro. What I was getting at is that we use the same excuse over and over and over again. Like we just recycle stuff. Like the Knicks had a rookie, and I can't remember his name. He played around the time with Darryl Walker, and I cannot remember his name. I was looking for it.
That was a bad era for Nick Picks.
Was it Mark Jones?
That was a bad era, Mark Jones. That was a bad era. That was a real bad era. Because out of that era right there, the only pick that was anything besides Darryl Walker,
Trent Tucker
was the best of it. Yeah. And Gerald Lee Wilkins.
Gerald Lee Wilkins,
who had the 19
or Eddie Lee Wilkins.
Eddie Lee Wilkins. Excuse me. Eddie Lee Wilkins, who had the 1983 shag Jerry curl.
Yes.
That when he used to run, you would literally see the curl activator bouncing off his head. Yes, they drafted him. You know, we didn't have. It was sad. You know, for a long period of time in between Walker, Tucker, Ewing in the 80s. It's Walker, Tucker, Ewing, Skywalker, Mark Jackson, Rod Strickland, Gerald Wilkins. Those are our best picks in 10 years of 3 rounds of drafts.
Yeah.
You can't sustain that as an organization. You can't build upon that as an organization.
Right. Bro,
like,
did you know we drafted Kurt Rambis?
Yes.
I didn't.
Was he drafted in 70, 77 or something like that?
80.
80? Okay.
Yep, he was in the Mike Woodson draft. We drafted Mike Woodson and Kurt Rambis in the same draft. Okay.
Woodson, I know Woodson. You know, he's spoken proudly on the Knicks being his organization and blah 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 blah. Okay, Woodson. Okay. You know, but yeah, I mean, you can't. Draft picks are important, Freezy. You know, no question about it. But it's kind of like how you and I see things. As cool as we are, and I think we're on lockstep on most parts. You may see a young guy, and I see a young guy, and we're like, we see clearly 2 different things.
2 different, yeah.
I remember when the first time I saw Landry Fields in preseason in the training camp, I knew he was a player, and he was an NBA player. Right. I didn't fool myself and say he'd be a great NBA player, but it was something, and he had a certain kind of energetic flow that you couldn't miss him on the screen. It was putbacks, you know, a jumper here. I likened him to what's my guy that went to Seton Hall? Kerry.
No, he didn't go to Seton Hall, man. He went to Villanova.
No, I know, but I liked his. I liked him.
Kerry Kittles.
Yes, I likened him to Kerry Kittles. I was like, you know, he's like a poor man's Kerry Kittles, where he just can do a little of everything.
Yeah, and had the size for his position.
And he was 6'7".
Yeah.
He was 6'7" as a shooting guard. He was 6'7".
Yeah.
And when he finally got to the big league, and you know, we had Melo and you know, blah 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 blah, he wasn't trying to be a star, but he just could fit in. Yeah. He could do a little of everything.
Yeah.
You know, Toronto just came out and just gave him a contract that he didn't ask for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to get him from the Knicks, they just came out and said, well, hey, boom, here's this ridiculous contract that the Knicks was like, yo, we can't pay you. But that was a move where if the Knicks had gave him that money, although he wasn't worth that money per se.
Right.
With that Knicks team at that time, he fit.
Right.
You see, he's kind of like how with the Lakers, when the Lakers traded away what's the name to I think he's on Toronto now.
The Lakers to Toronto.
Yeah. I think he's on Toronto now. God, what's his name? Oh God. But I likened him to Landry Fields. Similar, not a star, but every now and again, can he get you a big game? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And Landry Fields' thing too was he provided, so he wasn't flashy, but he provided just enough flash to keep his name in your mind. Right?
Yes.
Like the Jeremy Lin game against Toronto when Landry Fields got the putback dunk against all they bigs. He's
Yes.
like, oh, Landry Fields, but that was just enough to keep him on the radar. You know.
But Landry's one of the things that you have to look out for is when you were at the free throw line, if you didn't box him out, he would come running from half court and fly in there and send it home.
Yep. Yep.
That's not nothing that the coaches teach you. That's court awareness. That's you being on the floor and you knowing the guys who are on the floor and like, all right, this guy's kind of breathing kind of heavy right now. He's not going to be able to stop me. Or I notice nobody's looking at me right now. Let me fly in. He used to fly in at least once a month and get one of those putback dunks.
One of those putback dunks, yeah.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So we may see young players and hope the best for them, but you may see certain attributes out of this young player. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, no, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, what's my guy that we drafted out of? I think he went to Florida. Was it Florida A&M? Point guard that Walsh drafted.
Oh, geez, Johnny Walsh draft.
Tony Douglas.
Tony Douglas went to Florida State.
Tony Douglas.
Yeah.
Tony Douglas was we saw him in the seniors game because he was a 4-year starter or a 4-year player at Florida State.
Yeah.
When Walsh drafted him basically because he was a very good on-ball defender in college. Good on-ball defender in the NBA as well, but hard-nosed. But he wasn't a real point guard like we thought that we needed.
Right.
Or we were hoping that we would get.
Right.
And when they gave him the ball, that's how the rise of Jeremy Lin came to be.
Yep. Yep.
Because when they gave him the ball finally, he wasn't good with the ball.
No, he was not.
He just wasn't. Setting up the offense, that just wasn't his thing.
You remember Randall, Chasing Randall?
Yeah, Chasing Randall, another one.
Chasing Randall, Torrey Murray, all them dudes.
Another one.
All them dudes.
You know, we've had a lot of them, and that's what happens when you have inconsistent front office.
Right.
And you got all of these guys that were previous general managers someplace else, and you have them all on your staff.
Right. Right.
See what I'm saying? G-Man, what up, guys?
What's good, my brother? How you doing?
We're doing all right, man. We're coming to the end of football season. I see you still got the New York Giants logo all over the place. I really don't know.
It's never going to change, JD. It's never going to change. So if I change it up now, I'm a fair weather fan. I've been a Giants fan as long as I've been the Knicks fan. But
I hear you. And that's a fan for you. And you got to ride. That's just what it is. Through the good times and through the bad.
Exactly. You got to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying?
Man, y'all sound like Cooley High. Y'all sound like Cooley High right now. Talking about the good times. You got to take the good times. Come on, man.
Absolutely. You got to take the good times with the bad.
That's fine.
You know.
Yeah. And speaking of, I'm reminded by I saw the thumbnail for Cooley High when I was scrolling through YouTube. I was like, Cooley High?
Yeah.
They don't even make movies like that no more, bro.
It's hard to watch. I watched it maybe like a month ago,
Right.
and as soon as they kill Cochise, or they're
Like,
about to kill, as soon as they're about to kill Cochise, I gotta turn it off.
You gotta turn. Yeah.
Turn. I gotta turn because a grown man should not be crying in his living room by himself. He should not be falling. I promise you. As soon as you see it, when you see him run, his last living moment on screen was when he sees Preacher's light-skinned love affair. And she's on the corner. He runs down and he's like, "Hey, you seen Preach?" And she was like, "Stone and Roberts just came in, and that's his man." And when he hears Stone and Roberts, he already knows the correlation. They're gonna hurt him.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotta go run to go save my little man.
Yeah.
He runs up the L line, and that's where I stopped watching right there. That's it.
Right there.
Every time I turn to it, right there is where I stop, because I don't want to hear "It's so hard to say goodbye."
Yes.
I just don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to see them beat. I don't want to see them beating Chiefs to beating Cochise to his death.
Right.
Right.
It's like in Malcolm X, the movie X with Malcolm X, when the Sam Cooke song come on, "I was born by the river." Yep. And a change gonna come, and you see Malcolm X walking down the street. You're like, "No, don't go, Malcolm, don't go."
You already know.
You know what I'm saying? but you already know.
I'm gonna tell you
facts.
So R.I.P. To a great a pioneer in the African American community when it comes to film. One Mr. Sidney Poitier.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I've gone in over the course of the last 24 to 48 hours and watched the movies that he made, him and Bill Cosby. They were out there doing Uptown Saturday Night. Yeah, man.
And let's do it again.
And
piece of the action, yo.
Woo! No doubt. Geechee Dan. Hey, look.
Geechee Dan. Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Smalls.
The original Biggie Smalls.
Yeah,
That's it. I done check, and for those of you that are watching, that don't know what we're talking about, I challenge you to go Google those movies, because we talk about movies that came up back in the 70s, 80s.
Yes.
Right? So if you want to see acting at the epic level, at the epitome of skills, then that's what you need to go look at. That's before all of the special effects and all this other stuff. I'm just talking about pure talent, to where you got African Americans out there on the screen doing their thing, when it wasn't a time that African Americans were holistically opened up to be able to do this type of a professional
and making movies that wasn't buffoonery.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so the fact that the funny thing to me is they were in a movie about a dude in a lottery ticket.
Yes.
The dude robbed the.
Yes. The dude robbed them with his Biggie Smalls. When they go to Madame Zenobia's. I've seen the movie so many times. I know all the names to the players.
All the names,
right? And when they roll in there with the machine guns,
right?
And he's like, and Biggie Smalls is like, they all masked up, and Biggie Smalls like, hey, now everybody get naked. Everybody take all your clothes off. And this one lady, she was like, but I don't wear underwear. And he's like, lady, did you hear me? And she took her clothes off. All you hear Biggie Smalls going is, Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And it wasn't dirty. You see what I'm saying? Today it would have to be graphic, it would have to be dirty.
Yeah, man.
We didn't see her get naked on screen. We just heard him go, Lord have mercy.
That's a fact. But I'm gonna tell you what made me feel like when I watched John Amos in Let's Do It Again. You remember the chase scene when they were chasing Sydney and Bill down the street?
Right.
I was looking at John Amos, I'm like, this dude had to be a fullback at some time in his life, bro.
He looked like looked like he was eating up the concrete.
Man, quick.
In platform shoes and a 3-piece suit on.
Yep.
And a hat.
Yeah,
right.
And that was the dress. Yes. And that was the way. That's the way we rock, man. My uncles used to dress like that every day.
Yeah, man.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah,
every day.
Crazy, boy. That was crazy. But,
every day. And as you say, rest in peace. Rest in peace to, my man who brought us cinema classic, the Mac.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His name is skipping me right now. He died earlier last week. His name's gonna come to me. Which the Mac is like one of the greatest movies for those who come again
of all time.
Of all times, and it has some. If you're a fan of Richard Pryor, it has some classic scenes there. Dick Anthony Williams, who plays Pretty Tony. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember seeing that, and those were like his line. He's sitting there with his man, and he was like, "Yo, sure, shooting. She wasn't getting nothing from me. He wanted the honey. All we want is the money."
You talking about Max Julian? Max Julian is who you talking about.
Max Julian, rest in peace to Max Julian.
I always get him and Ron O'Neal mixed up for some reason.
Yes,
I don't know why.
Yes. Max Julian absolutely made just and a lot of that stuff was improvisation between him and Richard Pryor.
Right.
Richard grew up with Richard grew up in the brothel.
Oh yeah, he did.
So he knew. The phraseologies and things like that. And I've seen like the making of that movie when he says that Richard just, we just turned the cameras on and he was that's just all improv right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Richard's like, yo, you know what? I can't believe that a woman would give somebody this money like that. Richard goes, because your game is strong, man. Your game is strong. Those times. And like I said, rest in peace to those giants, Sidney Poitier and, those giants. I'm celebrating them from their achievements on screen and so forth. And
they impact on the culture.
Yeah,
and the impact on the culture.
For sure.
And they just had some moments that was just incredible. You know what I mean?
And I want people to remember this, right? And if we talk about this 2022 right now, right? So if you think about, you have to take yourself out of the present and think about the hurdles that these guys had to transgress in order to just be able to be on screen. Not making just to be on screen, just to have the opportunity.
Right.
And then once you are afforded the opportunity, then you are able to be out there uncensored and with all the back, because there was some, trust me, there was backlash to come behind every one of these films that we talked about.
Right.
Absolutely.
Don't get it twisted, right? But in order for them to stand that ground and go out there to talk about movies that came out in 1974, and I'm still watching them today.
Still.
Right.
Today.
Still. You still see the artistry. You still see. Remember movies back then when they would have the slow motion.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which is if you try to use that today in today's cinematography, like people will laugh you off the screen. But watching Jim Kelly do karate kicks in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it was Black Belt Jones and Jim Kelly, rest in peace, Jim Kelly, with his super afro and and it was always like one kind of white cop villain, and he rolls up, and the two cops roll up to him, and they is like, you're gonna jail, buddy, that kind of deal. And Jim Kelly goes, "You trying to set me up?" Whoa! All of a sudden you see Jim Kelly with like these crazy, and Jim Kelly got on high leather. You see crazy moves
for sure.
Yeah, just that whole, Mario Van Peebles, he passed away earlier, a few months ago as well.
Melvin Van Peebles.
Melvin Van Peebles, excuse me. Mario is his son. But just, those kind of movies that, we made Sweetback, and you're not gonna, I say this to young folks, it's like, if you believe in your dream and you want to put all into your dream, there's nothing wrong with that. Do all you can before your dream becomes a nightmare.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you believe in it, don't let someone tell you that you can't see it, you can't achieve it, because these people believed in their dreams with no real money.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? No real money attached to it. When we talk about Superfly, like, it was a real hustler dude that was helping them finance the movie.
That's a fact.
Like, the car itself, that was a real dude's car.
Yeah.
Like, somebody just saw him one day and was like, "Yo, we making a movie. We'd like to use your car." And dude was like, "Anybody got no, you know how them older G's talk. Anybody got no time for that.
Anybody got time for that?
Anybody got no time for that." And everything at the end of everything is always baby.
Yeah.
Time for that. But
man.
He said he called them up in a couple of weeks, and not only did they use his car, but his clothes.
Yeah. That lifestyle. It was all about the lifestyle. It was all about the lifestyle.
And you pieced it together, and all of a sudden, the majors see that we go to the movies too.
That's right. That's that dollar bill effect right there. You want all the money you get.
We support our own too, and all of a sudden, now it's no longer, homegrown just for, because someone's gonna back it to the umpteenth degree, and so forth and so forth. But shout out to those pioneers, those men, those women, that really put it. That really put it down. You know what I'm saying? But like I said in the beginning, starting off with this, I can't watch Coach East gonna die.
No, man. And
oh my God!
As soon as I get to the part where everybody making out in the hallway, I start getting nervous, bro. I start pacing. And I start pacing. Like,
yes.
Why this just can't be about the homies? You know what I'm saying?
It's just, you know what I mean? It just takes you back to another time to when you was young with your friends and the things that you would do, and with your peoples, and you can remember, vividly certain moments that only you and your man know.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Only
but that's what make it dope, though.
Yes.
To me, that's what make it dope. Because
those are day one moments. Those are
Yeah.
day one moments that only you and your man, your day one men's know.
Yeah.
And they know you from since you was originally Uncle Freezy. You know what I mean? Like, so, again, shout out to those people. But we kind of stretched off topic because he was about to introduce the draft picks in our
My bad.
Bruh, hey, the thing with the draft picks though is we know as an organization we made a mistake because we start recycling the same excuses we used
over and over again.
Oh, the coach is dumb. The dude need more minutes. All he got to do is get a point guard, trade for LeBron or Magic Johnson, and this draft pick will become such and such. And
but sometimes, okay, let's look at one of the worst coaches in our history, Bob Hill. Okay,
he wasn't a bad coach. He was a bad coach for us.
Okay, all right. He's a bad coach for us, but it's in our history. Bob Hill, after they fired Hubie Brown, Bob Hill takes over. Bob Hill immediately at that time in the NBA, the Twin Towers was the thing. Houston had Twin Towers. LA had a version of Twin Towers with Kupchak, Kareem, and what's my guy? What's Thompson? Klay Thompson's father was a part of that whole.
Michael Thompson, yeah.
Right, Michael Thompson. Boston had
he was number one pick in the draft.
Number one pick in the draft. Boston had Twin Towers because Boston's front line, everybody was 6'10" and bigger. You draft Patrick Ewing, who once in a generation kind of player.
Right.
Gets hurt his rookie season. You take over coming into his second season. You then try to make him a power forward for lunch meat Bill Cartwright.
Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Come on, man.
Sarge, am I incorrect here?
No, that happened.
Bill Cartwright wanted lunch meat, man. Come on, bro.
You try making him Bill. I liken Bill Cartwright's Knick career to when Rocky used to be in the frozen meat locker, punching those half cows that I swear to God I ain't never seen no boxer punch no cow before. Rocky, he was the cow. He was the cow on the hook. That Rocky used to punch with him and Paulie, and Paulie's going, yo, you gonna break all the ribs?
Because Paulie was the butcher.
I ain't gonna get my beef tips.
Yeah.
Beef tips.
Yeah. Paulie was the butcher. He like, yo, you messing up my money.
He messing up my money, but that was Bill Cartwright's career, and with the Knicks, he was the half cow on the hook. You don't forego this generational talent. Everybody was calling him Bill Russell coming out of college, coming out of Hoya Destroyer. You want to take his position, and this is what the Knicks did this year with R.J. Barrett and the Frenchman. They take R.J. Barrett's position from him for a guy coming into the organization. You see, for a guy who's not gonna be here for 4 years. And that's where my steam was coming over these last 2 weeks, and I'm arguing on the other morning shows. I'm like, look, for better for worse, R.J. Barrett is the highest pick in Knicks history. The third highest pick in Knicks history outside of Willis, Pat. It's R.J.
Right.
You don't do that to that guy. You don't do that to Ewing. Not for those guys who. Bill Cartwright had a nice NBA career, not with the Knicks.
Right. Facts.
Yeah.
He wins championships with Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you, Bob Hill, I got this young dude, this young phenom. Remember, they used to call Pat Beast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When his legs were still really under him, when he could still really be explosive, and you somehow think making him into a power forward is going to make him happy. He ain't Tim Duncan.
No.
He ain't trying to duck the big guy smoke. He ain't AD. He ain't 7 foot in name only. He ain't 7 foot in height only. He's 7 foot here.
Yeah.
In the heart. So that's a part of that. When you have a coach, you could point, like I said, I could point blame to him because he did that. Him and the management team was like, oh, we're getting Cartwright back. He's gonna be healthy. We haven't had him healthy in 2 years. Let's make it, instead of thinking, let's trade Bill. It took Al Bianchi to come on and was like, look, that experiment is over. We're gonna move him.
Yep. Yeah, do something new.
We're gonna move him out. Ewing's gonna be center. We're gonna get a real power forward, and it's one of the great trades in Knicks history.
Right.
Great. You know, AD, it's amazing that you bring those facts up, and as you're talking about that, I'm going back in my mind and saying to myself that looks a lot like what we got going on today, as far as draft picks, who we're willing to go get, what position these players are playing in, or if they're playing out of position that most people think they need to be in. This is all, it's like deja vu all over again.
Yeah. You know, it's it's a fine line when you're trying to integrate young players with older veteran players.
Mm-hmm.
Do I mind Taj Gibson? No, I don't mind Taj Gibson. Until I look at the box score and I see he's played more minutes than Obi Toppin.
Come on, man.
Stop it, Freaky. Don't.
Come on, y'all forcing my hand right here. Y'all forcing my hand right here.
No, I just can't. I can't have. I don't care if Taj Gibson hit 5 threes in a row. I don't want to see him on the court more than I want to see Obi Toppin. Taj Gibson's role is supposed to be Herb Williams.
Right.
Hold on. See,
I can go with
what
that.
I mean?
I go with
See
that.
what I mean? So Taj Gibson can't carry Herb Williams' gym bag at this stage. Well,
But
at
he
this
would
stage,
be,
Herb
but he would be
Williams.
Herb Williams' son. But he would be Herb Williams' son. He'd be the next tier.
Yeah.
See?
At this
Well, you
even
can have
at
a
this
job.
age, at 36, Herb Williams was still a baller.
Yeah, but Herb put himself in a position where he's gonna have a job with the Knicks somehow, some way for the rest of his life.
Yeah, because he
That
did
should
everything
be-
they said.
That should be Taj. Like you should walk off the court going, I can't play 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I only got really and truly, I only got a good 12 in me.
that's right.
Playing 25 minutes when we got this young dude right here with pogo stick for legs, you're setting the seeds for descent.
Right.
I agree.
And
I mean,
you're setting the seeds for descent, and this is where we go wrong a lot of times. It's like it just doesn't make any sense. I said it before, said it earlier, I'm gonna say it again. There's only 2 ways that this should part, that this should happen. Either you play him or you find him a bus ticket out of town.
point blank period. I'm with you.
That's it.
I'm with you.
Man, but
That's
Knicks,
it.
Knicks fans, man, we always make the same excuses for everybody, man.
Freaky, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm done with the excuses because I'm gonna tell you, as much as I want to see Obi on the court, I see where his game lacks. I see where he lacks the energy and the aggressiveness that you look for from a power forward, right? So when you go to the hole, there's no way that you should be going to the hole at that size with a soft layup. You should be yelling on people.
Yesterday he got blocked by number 12. Number 12, Ben.
I saw that. But this is the thing, right?
And Enes Kanter.
Yeah. I mean,
You getting blocked by Enes Kanter?
This is where I'm at with the team. I'm not gonna single out Obi. I'm gonna say with the team because I've seen this as a systemic problem across the rotation that the New York Knicks have going on right now, right? So first and foremost, when you have, I think we all agree that the franchise right now is in win now mode. I think we can all agree to that. I think that when you see people with a lack of production that comes out, game in, game out, Tibbs, either he bases, I'm hesitant to say rotation, because last night's game where I looked there, I'm sitting here, why is it taking you so long to sub these guys out? We have seen this disaster take place for the last 8 minutes, and you haven't made a substitution. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm not the head coach. But when you come out on that court and in the back of your mind, if Freezy put me in the game, AD, and I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing. I'm concentrating on not making a mistake. So in that time frame, I'm not my game is not flowing at that point, right? So if you out there, you doing your thing, right? If you that ball handler and you got handles, every once in a while you're gonna turn the ball over. And I'm good with that. But then, I can't be good with that if every time that the ball comes out of my hand or it gets tipped out, Freezy's yanking me off the court. But at the same time, the dude that I'm following that's supposed to be educating me to the game comes out and makes 8 to 9 turnovers in a row, and he don't get yanked. Granted, different status, you know what I'm saying? Right. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, when are you availing me the opportunity to be able to progress, to work through my mistakes?
G-Man, I already saw this movie before, bro. I saw the same movie with Gerard Mustaf.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah. Gerard Mustaf was here for a cup of coffee, and they traded him for Xavier McDaniel.
I know this. I know
before he asked for the cream.
But listen, I know. So here's the thing. My pops worked with Gerard Mustaf's mom at Ford Motor Company, right? They worked together for years, right? She's like, my son, this is how like my pops be like, yeah, man, my son gonna be 7 foot tall. He gonna be the next George Foreman, right? And she talking trash back like, my son 7 foot tall right now, and he gonna save the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And all kind of. This is before he's in high school, before I'm in high school.
Yep.
And come to find out, we get Gerard Mustaf, right? And the thing around the two players around our area that and AD can say what he want to say, but he know better. So there was this kid in college named Charles Smith. He looked like the next great. They was like, yo, he's 6'11". He handled the ball like a guard. He can shoot 3-pointers. He can dunk, and he had 14 rebounds last night and blocked 7 shots. This is when he in college now. Right? Charles Smith is going to be the next. He too tall to be Magic Johnson, so he might be better. Right?
Right.
So, and this is what we saying on the street, like this kid, Charles Smith. I hope the next kid, Charles Smith, man. Charles Smith dunked from the free throw line last night. And this is before everybody had ESPN and internet, right?
Right.
So if one dude on your block told the story, right, he told 4 people, them 4 people told 6 people apiece, and then them 6 people told 4 more people. So by the time you got the story, it absolutely had to be true because it's 20 people that say the same story or added something to it.
And right? the story got embellished every time it was told.
Every time it got told, right? They was like, man, Charles Smith jumped over Kareem last night. You know what I'm saying? And Charles Smith jumped over Kareem and threw it down with 2 hands. And before he came down, he was making sure his hand was straight. You know, this is how we used to talk back in the day for people watching. This is how we used to tell stories back in the day.
Story
because there was no such thing as fact checking back then. Because Google didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we finally get Charles Smith. We trade for Charles Smith, right? And we look at this dude, and I think his first games, I think he might have came off the bench, but then they wound up starting him at the 3. I think that's how it went. I can't remember exactly. But he went up and grabbed a rebound over Pat and yelled, "Ah!" And we was on the block the next day. We was like, we gonna win a chip. We gonna win it. Oh, Michael Jordan, who?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, but anyway, as things went along, people was like, they need to give Charles Smith more minutes, man. They need to give Charles Smith more minutes, man. This coach stupid, man. They need to run the offense. Charles Smith gonna be something. And then something happened, and Charles Smith is the worst name you could ever hear if you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
If you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
Right. Right. This is just what I'm saying is as Knicks fans, we make 100 million billion trillion excuses for people we like, but the people we don't like, all we need to do is see one play, and he need to get out of town forever. We saw Charles Smith make one bad sequence of plays, and you can't even say his name without fighting another Knicks fan. But then you have others who get a million, billion, trillion, quadrillion excuses.
So it's amazing that you bring up that point, Freaky, because, during the Pacers game, I was talking the exact same thing you're talking about right now. I said about one Mr. Frenchman. I'm not even going to call his name, right? But we all know he has a significant success rate playing against one Boston Celtics team, right? And we saw that in the game in the Garden, where he goes out and he gets a career high. To me, that's smoke and mirrors, because he's still the same person that in the Pacers game got a goose egg. So if I hire you to do a certain job and you come in and you flop continuously night in and night out for 3 nights a week, when I bring you in to stock the shelves, you buffalo that up every night. And on one night, you come in and actually do your job. What kind of rating are you getting at the end of the year when I do your performance evaluation? And I'm paying you all this money.
Yeah.
Listen, you got to go. Yep. You have to go. I'm telling you right now, you have to go. Because you saw last night in the game in the Garden in Boston, where, yes, we missed the performance or the productivity from said player, but going into this game, I promise you that the decision not to play this dude did not come at game time. We knew prior to he was not going to play. So what is your game plan to make up for the deficit of the production that he provided in the Garden, in Madison Square Garden? You don't have a plan. Well, I'm not going to say you don't have a plan, but the plan that you put on the court, that didn't work. You look like a straight up amateur. Look, this is at the Boys and Girls Club on Saturday morning, going in at the Y. Hey, I put my name on the chalkboard. Hey, Freezy just walked in. AD just walked in. Hey, y'all want to run? You know what I'm saying? And see if we can hold the court. Man, stop it. You got a whole bunch of guys running up and down the court. There is no organization. Everybody's playing individual ball, trying to get their shot off, trying to be the hero of the ball instead of playing team basketball. Fundamental basketball. When is it acceptable for professional athletes not to make free throws? I'll wait. I'm just saying. Free throws, bro? Come on, man. And then, granted, we didn't go to the line a lot because officiating was not on our side, not even almost. Right. But when you actually got to the line, you need to make them shots. And we're talking high-profile players. RJ, Julius, you can't make free throws? Really?
G-Man, they got heart, though.
I don't care about heart, Freezy. I care about you putting the ball in the basket. That's what I care about. That's what I care about.
Hart scored you 75 points.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
In a modern NBA game, not even in the 90s did we score 75 points.
Yeah, that's too low for the 90s.
And expect to win? No.
And expect to win?
No. Free. Look, it's free. You look, and the crazy part about, and this is when I knew that just the spirit of our team is broken right now. And this is how I tell you when I knew that. When you remember that technical foul in the fourth quarter, when McBride came out,
he came in and he shot a brick off the
Yes. I'm like, oh my God. Granted, He just
Cut him.
came in. He just came in the game. He's probably cold. But we're talking about a free throw. There's nobody guarding you. It's you at the line. Take your time, get in your rhythm, make the shot. And he just threw up. I don't know what it was.
John Starks missed those. Remember John Starks missed those free throws against Indiana?
Yes.
When Reggie Miller looked at Pat, he was like, "Yo, your boy choking. He can really miss these." Remember that?
Yeah.
Like this. Yeah.
He looked Pat dead in the eyes. He walked up to Pat Ewing and said, "Your boy choking right now. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's shook. He about to miss these free throws. Y'all about to lose." And Starks into the free throw line.
Yeah.
Missed those free throws.
Mark Jackson talked about it. Mark Jackson, in one of those documentaries, was like, "Yo, I played with John.
Yeah.
I looked in John's eyes. John he didn't want any of those free throws.
So yeah, he was not there.
And he bricked too.
Yep, because I saw one. I don't know if it's the same one you saw, but Mark Jackson was like, he went over to talk to Starks. Yeah, he looked at Starks' eyes and he was like, Starks was not there. He's like, Starks was checked out. He was not there.
The whole team. Look at that right there, and look at that game. That's 95 against your nemesis throughout the 90s. Yeah, you lost more to them than you won if you check the record.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we won the big game. We won big games though against them.
No, even in the big games, we lost more to them. I think our record against them is in the playoffs. I think we're 3-4 against them.
Wow.
Yeah, because we beat them 90. We beat them 93.
Yep.
We beat them 94.
The year Jordan was out. The year he retired.
Right.
Yep.
They beat us 95.
Yep.
98. We beat them 99. They beat us 2000.
Yeah.
And I think they beat us 2001. We're 3-4. We're 3-4 against them in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
they beat us twice on our home court.
Yep.
And the crazy part about that stat 80 is this. We're losing the teams right now. The same stats that you're laying at right now, we're losing the teams right now that people would say holistically. If you look at the paper copy of the matchup, we shouldn't be losing to.
Right.
No, that's just not true, because we're built wrong. You see, and we keep going back to this, but it's just the facts. We're built wrong as a team coming off of a successful, postseason. So management decided to give out early Christmas gifts, right? That's what they did.
That's true. So when you say we're built wrong, I equate that to being managed wrong, because when you talk about okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Because there is not, and maybe Freezy's going to agree with this, there is not one player that we re-signed should have got more than a 1-year contract.
Right. I agree with that.
I agree 100%. 1,000%. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah. If you were gonna bring back the game, then you should have just brought back the game.
Right. Everybody.
Yeah.
On 1-year deals. On 1-year deals. And just run it back.
And run it back.
Yeah.
If you didn't see something, or if you didn't think that, all right, we tried to get Ball during the trading deadline. I don't believe it. We tried to get Ball. It didn't happen. We tried to get him again in the off season. He had something already in the cooking with Chicago. Whatever. We weren't going to talk to CP3. I don't know why. I'm not going to go there right now. But whatever the viable options were, it wasn't viable. We couldn't get it. Fine. Why would you eat up cap space? Why would you give Orleans Noel? And Noel helped us win many games last year. I'm not knocking him, right? He's not worth more than a 1-year contract.
I agree.
Has he played 10 games this year?
No,
Nope.
I don't think so.
No.
Has he played 5 games back to back?
I don't know. Absolutely not. I know he has not done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See,
No.
we're looking at a man that's about what? How old is he? 27, 28, 29,
27.
right? Who still has his junior high school body.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Right?
How do you invest long term in double digit and millions of dollars in this gentleman?
You know, I think one of the things that we talked about last season, we talked about we didn't want to see a whole bunch of 1-year contracts going in, right? But I think that from a business standpoint, you have to be smart enough to know that I am not confident enough in your skill set and your contribution to be able to offer you a multi-year deal. Why on God's green earth? I understand. Well, let me say this. I think that the discussion after the playoffs, after we got ousted in the first round, the generalization was we need more scoring, right? And I understand that. You make your determination based on what you saw and what the root cause you feel like that took place, and you need to correct that. Okay, I have no problem with that. But what you can't do to me is you can't tell me you're going to take me to a used car lot and tell me that 1987 Toyota Supra is equivalent to a 2010 Murcielago and expect me to believe that. But when you buy the 1987, you're paying Murcielago prices. And then you want me to keep it with a false hope of an extended warranty. Stop playing with me right now. That's Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. And Freezy always, I hate to put words in his mouth, but Freezy has always said the most valuable player in the New York Knicks franchise is the PR department, because they will put a narrative out there that forces you to believe that what we're doing is the right thing.
Yep.
It's the right, but at a certain point, your basketball mindset has to kick in and say, this right here, it don't make dollars and it don't make sense.
Right.
At all.
It doesn't. Like what? You can't invest 3 years, and I called them $2 wine last week, right? You can't invest 3 years in Derrick Rose.
No.
When is the last time Derrick Rose out last year might have been the most games he played in one season consecutively in several years?
Agree.
You can't invest that kind of money in him, that kind of time in him. Can't.
I'm with you 100%.
Right.
This is the thing. This is the thing, gentlemen, that I would say, and I'm gonna shut up after this. I've asked this question before. What is the direction that the New York Knicks are headed in right now? What is the plan?
They don't know.
I agree, because I've watched
know.
The games that I watched, there is no rhyme or reason as to why we're doing what we're doing.
They jumped in as part of a LA Lakers trade to save $1 million.
Yeah.
So now they got us thinking they saving $1 million because something is coming down the pipe. Something else is coming down. Coming down the pipe.
Exactly.
No. And they say they doing this trade after the fact, but nobody realized that they cut Wayne Selden.
Yeah, that happened.
They saving money right there. Why didn't you just cut Wayne Selden and move on?
Cut Wayne Selden.
Why you gotta jump in a deal?
Why did you jump in that deal? Because why? It's gonna make our fan base think, well, we're not asleep at the wheel. No, you've been sleeping at the wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been sleeping at the wheel. You gave an unteam friendly deal to the Frenchman.
Right.
4 years, 3 guaranteed, $79 million.
is crazy to me right now. Crazy.
When Boston didn't even give him a sniff, and they gave up valuable assets for him. They didn't give him a sniff.
Hey, and you know what? And here's the thing. People think we got Evan Fournier just outright in free agency. We actually did a sign and trade with the Boston Celtics and gave them 2 second-round picks.
That's a fact.
For Evan Fournier.
That's a fact.
When you look at the transaction,
attributes. We gave up attributes, right?
And gave them $18 million.
You can't make that up.
Yo,
that's not. This is not how you sustain winning. You see, I go back to Utah. Utah hasn't won a championship in my lifetime. No. But ever since I was in junior high school, maybe 2 years out of that whole 30-year stretch, they've always been in the playoffs.
Yep.
The
only time they didn't is the years where they got Darren Williams and Enes Kanter. That's the stretch. Yeah, they got Darren Williams and Enes Kanter in the draft. Yeah.
You're talking 2 years out of about 33, 34 years.
Yep.
Right? They stayed consistent. Stayed pulling guys. You know, they got Donovan Mitchell when the Knicks worked him out, and I heard this from someone, the Knicks worked him out, some of the guys, they loved him.
Right.
They loved him. They were like, yo, Phil. Then Phil comes out the next day, we're not going to draft someone based upon athletic ability.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? Dennis Smith? Who are you talking about? We're drafting guys based on how they're going to fit in the triangle.
Oh, God.
Stop. Yeah, but that's what they did. You were 100% correct, AD. That's exactly what they did.
You just can't make this up. When you're looking at, we can say whatever we want about San Antonio and how they got their run, but for the last 27, 28 years, they've maintained it. They tanked for Robinson, yeah. They tanked for Tim Duncan, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine, but they did something with it.
They did.
See what I'm saying?
They did that.
Remember, they drafted Sean Elliott, who was a big-time college player, like number 6 one year. Sean Elliott was an okay NBA player, solid NBA player, right? But he was just a part of the cog. So when
you remember the play with Sean Elliott when Sean Elliott lost them the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah. Oh my God.
When Rod Strickland came around the pick and roll, and Sean Elliott started to go cut to the rim, and Rod Strickland threw the bounce pass on the money, but Sean Elliott stopped and went back to the corner, and the ball went out of bounds. Yeah. And the Portland Trailblazers win the game.
That was pretty much the end of Rod, the end of Brown.
Yeah.
The whole nine.
Yep.
That was pretty much it.
And that team was built perfectly too. They had a young point guard in Rod Strickland, a great young backup in Maurice Cheeks.
Yeah.
Man, he was built
perfect. No, well, they traded Cheeks for Rod.
They traded Cheeks. How did they trade Cheeks for Rod?
We got Maurice Cheeks. That was
from
the deal.
San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah, that was the deal.
Who was their backup point guard?
His name is skipping me right now, but I knew who you're talking about. But they had a collection of youth movement and they had Brown as their coach. And it seemed like, because I remember when the Knicks made that trade, from all 4 corners of the earth, everybody killed us for making that trade.
Right.
Because Maurice Cheeks was 34, 35.
Something like that,
at the time.
He was up in age for sure.
He wasn't Maurice Cheeks anymore. But with those naysayers, they never come back to apologize that Maurice Cheeks helped Ewing get to a point where he destroyed the Boston Celtics in old Boston Garden in a series when they were down 0-2, that they won 3 straight, and he destroyed Parrish. He destroyed Boston and helped them. All of a sudden, his career, it just unhitched because he had all kind of problems with Robert Parrish.
You just said something that brings me back to the Boston game that we just watched. Not the last one on Saturday, but the one that we watched on Thursday, right? Prior to Thursday, okay, I'm gonna take you a couple games back. I'm gonna take you back to the Indiana game when Julius and RJ both had 30 plus points, right?
Right.
And we all believe that was the next coming. We have a dynamic duo out here that's going.
Please remove me. Please remove me from that thought pattern.
Okay. I'm gonna say most people. I won't put you in there. I'm gonna say most people, right? Because I was not a believer of that at all, right? But I'm gonna say most people saw that game and believed that RJ and Julius, if they could, be able to recreate that dynamic, would be able to propel this team to success moving forward. I was not one of those people. I was a proponent of, I need to see you do it again on a consistent basis. So then we moved into the game against Boston. So now what we have is RJ didn't have a good game, and we're gonna feed the Celtic killer, which we know for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but Fournier has a great game against Boston every time we play. Every time we play. So we feed him. So he has a career high. Randall has a double-digit game, and we're happy. So then the thought process is, if we can recreate that. Now, mind you, I just went from one dynamic to a different dynamic to where we're missing a player in the equation, right? So in the Pacers game, it was it was Julius and RJ. In the Boston game, it was Julius and Evan. And Julius did not get his thing going on until late in the second half of the basketball game. Let's be clear. Right?
Right.
So then we move into the game that we just saw on Saturday night. No Evan. So now if the dynamic of that thought process remains, we're thinking now that we can go back to the Pacers game to where RJ and Julius are the catalyst that's on the court. How did that work out? I'm telling you right now, AD, brother, listen to me when I tell you this. This right here looks to me, and I watched the game, and it was hard for me to sit here and watch the entire game, but I did. I sat here and took my medicine the whole game. I watched the entire game. And the whole time I'm looking at this game, I'm like, what offense are they running? What offensive set is this right here? There was none. What you got is, and this is how I knew we were going to be in trouble. If I'm watching this basketball game and I see Julius Randle bringing the ball up the court, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Hurts my soul.
In trouble.
Hurts my soul every time. And I don't want to kill him for every time, but it just clogs your space. It doesn't allow you to do anything. It doesn't allow you to get into a running momentum.
It doesn't.
You know what I'm saying? It's when I watch some of these old timers, in particular, Wes Unseld, and I've watched some of his older games before. And I'm listening to the old heads. They were like, yo, his biggest attribute was get the rebound, throw it ahead.
Yep.
Start the fast break. Right?
Yeah.
Even if he on the inbounds pass, he's not looking necessarily at the guy right in front of him. He's assessing the defense up ahead to trying to push the ball.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We have gotten into this stance where it's like Julius needs to touch it. He needs to bring it up. He needs to fumble it. He needs to feel it. He needs to molest the ball, bring it up across and like in order for him to get his swerve on.
I agree.
And that's just not basketball for me. That's just not the total essence of the game. It's one guy manipulating the ball. He does nothing else off the ball.
I agree. And I'm gonna tell you
bananas with that.
I'm gonna tell you something that is more disturbing and more troubling to me is this, AD. When I watch Randall, right, and we're all on record as saying, you know, when you get into that bully ball, the ball dominance that we all feel like at some point in the game, Randall kind of reverts to. I believe that's for all intents and purposes, in my mind and what I see, that's rubbing off on IQ. Because I'm telling you right now, whereas IQ comes into the game, and granted, he makes some clutch shots when, you know, we need these shots. But when you look at shot selection, it's horrible. Horrible. If those shots are not going in, guess
They're
what?
horrible.
If I'm the coach, guess where you at? You're sitting over here
shots.
at the end of the bench.
And they're putting you in lead guard position.
Yes, that boggles my mind.
They're putting you in lead guard position. You know, I never want to stunt a young player's growth.
I'm with you.
But sometimes, even with your own children, you got to be like, all right, you're good at math, you're good at social studies, you're good at this, you're good at that. That's not his thing.
No.
Lead guard is not his thing.
No,
maybe in a stretch of 2 minutes here and there, but if you kept him in his role where he's comfortable or where you can grow him, it would be better for the team. But because you didn't go out and you didn't get a real point guard and real that you can depend on. Now the talk that I'm hearing is, well, when Rose comes back, what?
Stop.
What?
Stop.
He's supposed to shake up 8 weeks of rust and just roll back into
in one game.
In one game. I felt bad calling him $2 wine last week. I really did.
Yo, they did the same thing to Doc Rivers. Remember Doc Rivers in ¡93?
Yes.
Remember Doc Rivers missed all them games?
Yeah.
It was like, yo, when Doc get back, we gonna be straight. What?
I felt bad even then. But you're asking a player to shake off all types of rust, all types of COVID, all types of everything else, and just come back into, and everything's supposed to be fine. You see, we get into these mythical philosophies. We saw 3 good games out of Kemba. They gave him Player of the Week, and we thought, whoop, off and running. After every game, Sarge, when I look at the box score, the first thing I look at was minutes played.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. It's not. I don't care if you gave a G leaguer 10 minutes, 12 minutes, right?
Yeah.
In order to stretch him out to get the best out of him, he can't play 40 minutes a night.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Those days are over.
Gone.
You see? But yet still, you do it, and you're hearing because you want the good sound bites. Oh, you know, like I had to talk to Tibbs, and we had to sit down and I'm like, my guy, you sound like a drug addict that went for a 2-month stint at the Betty Ford clinic, and you think you free from this. You think you free from this ailment here.
The dragon's not calling you anymore, AD.
Right? You remember that? You remember that in New Jack City with Pookie?
Yeah.
When Pookie was like, "Come on, man, I want to help. I'm good." And they're like, "Yo, Pookie, you just rehabilitated the other day."
That's right. And you gonna be good in the house of the substance that you crave? Nah, bro.
Not only in the house, but it's everywhere in there.
And you cooking it.
It's the factory. Yeah.
It's the factory. And somebody signs off on that because why? They don't care about you.
At all.
Right.
At all.
The hope is that in that fleeting moment of objectivity, you're hoping, you're living by the hope creed. You're hoping that in some semblance this person can be successful. Stop.
Yeah, keep hope alive. When you think about Emmett Till's picture, keep hope alive.
Hope alive. Yeah, no.
I don't got, as my man said in Shawshank Redemption, hope is a dangerous thing.
It is.
Hope will drive a man crazy.
It will. It will. It will.
Right? That's what hope will do to you.
Have you helped all out on the island to where you have no idea what's going on? You don't.
Hope will make you sit there and go get an AR-15 and start talking to it and think it's a guitar.
For real though, that real talk. Real talk.
For real though, right? That's what hope will do to you, right?
Real talk.
That's that nonsense. But this hope, those are not concrete moves. Where are you going with that? You cannot use hope. You cannot use hope in practicality.
You can't. I mean, you can, but you're doomed to fail if you do that.
You're doomed to fail.
You're doomed to fail if you do that. And I would tell you this, brother. And as I watch these games, and I continue, this is why I continue to ask the question: what is the plan moving forward? Because when you now we have some athletes on this team, right? And again, if we want to be personally right now, what I feel about this team is this. I believe that if we are able to finish the season over 500, to me, that's a success. I don't see us making the playoffs, just to be honest. I mean, what we're doing right now, with what we have going on with this whole protocol thing, 9 in, 9 out, not sure who's going to play, who's going to be available, who's not, and then the inability to be able to put the best product on the court on a consistent basis troubles me. So last night's starting lineup, that's not what I would have went with. I'm telling you what I would have went. My starting lineup, if you want Brooks to start, if Brooks is starting at point guard. Now, we tried this experiment before, and we saw it fail immensely, right? But we want to go back to that. So we start Brooks at point. I'm going to bench, Fournier didn't play, so you ain't got to worry about him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move RJ from the 3 back to the 2. At the 3, guess who I'm bringing out at the 3? And this is going to blow your mind when I tell you.
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. That's exactly who I'm bringing off. Kevin Knox, Randall, and Mitch. That's my starting 5. Because we have seen time in, time out, that Grimes, although people want to holler at and clamor to see Grimes in that start lineup, Freezy, I'm just telling you right now, bro, he's not ready. And plus the fact that he is small to be going up against a team.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I watched the game that we played in the Garden, and when Grimes was in the game trying to match up against Tatum, oh my God, that was ugly to watch.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That was ugly to watch. So why do you think, because you move, mind you, you're giving these guys being the Boston Celtics an extra day of rest. They get a day of rest and they're playing at home. Why would you believe that if a Tatum was able to cook a Grimes after back-to-back when he's tired and he's still able to get his game off, he's not going to have a better game when he has a day of rest and he's playing at home. How does that make sense?
I understand. I understand where you're going. I just don't feel like I heard y'all quickly point, and I don't think it's fair. Right? Not that what y'all said was inaccurate, but how y'all applied it to me wasn't fair.
Okay.
Right. And so the reason why I say that is because I know quickly is flawed.
Right.
But how do you on one side say Obi Toppin deserved more minutes, the coach is stupid, and then Emmanuel Quickly is flawed, he take bad shots. Both of them young players that came out the same draft.
It is.
So if one guy is young, coming out of the 2020 draft and need more time to work on his game, and the other guy is giving you less results, how is the coach stupid?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Hold on. Here's how the coach is stupid. The coach plays favoritism.
No, he don't play no favoritism.
What? What?
All he want is dudes with heart to go out there and play.
Yeah,
you know what? So Denzel Washington made a movie about dudes like Obi Toppin, bro. It's called John Q. You remember that movie, John Q? With John Q screwed up the hospital, because he had to find a heart
for his son.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Really, Freezy? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Is that where we're going?
Denzel made a movie about Obi Toppin, bro.
If you're gonna say that, I'm gonna say that Barry Gordy made a movie called The Wiz and have Michael Jackson playing it, and have Michael Jackson playing the Scarecrow because he was looking for a heart.
He's on down the road.
If we gonna do all of that, if we gonna go there, that's not right, Freezy. Stop it. But I want to.
Hey, Mike was a little. When you go back and watch it, Mike was a little loose in that movie. He was like, "Hey, they tightened up that fella."
That whole movie.
Nipsey Russell. Yeah, oh my God.
Nipsey Russell, the Tin Man. But I saw somebody do something up on the stream. Do we remember the '94 finals? I try not to remember the '94.
I try to dump that from my memory.
I try not to, Carlos Herrera. We still can't stop Carlos Herrera.
No.
Anytime I mention '94 finals, my cousin loses it, because the first thing he goes to is Carlos Herrera.
Yes.
Carlos Herrera.
Off the bench, shooting 18 footers, bro.
Yeah.
Oakley, you can't go out and guard a dude 18 feet away from the basket.
Couldn't do nothing with him. Couldn't do nothing with him.
Business.
So yes, I don't remember who asked the question, but yes, I remember '94. It's one of the greatest times in my life, being young in the city and thinking that we were going to win it all. Yeah. But it's like the Cooley High movie. Yeah. When it's like Cooley High movie, because once Elijah Wan blocks that shot, I don't watch anything else. I'm good. Once he blocks John Starks, I'm good.
You got
94 was 94. I was the Pulse champ, the heavyweight champ on Pulse. I'm sorry, super heavyweight champ. And I think I weighed 203. I was like the lightest super heavyweight dude to ever win it. You know what I'm saying? So 94, I was walking around. I think I was driving a rodeo. No, not a rodeo. A sidekick. A sidekick.
I was driving a metallic blue square box Maxima, which was the Jamaican car of choice at that time. I was driving I had a sunroof. You couldn't tell me. Let me tell you something. That one of the greatest days of my life, and my mom has afforded me so many great days. But my ex at that time, who was, Lord have mercy. Let me just describe it like that. Lord have mercy. And my mom woke up. This was July, so this is like a month after the finals. And she woke up one Sunday, and she was like, "I think I just got that car." And when you just get a car, it's not new, but it's new to you.
It's new to you.
Yeah.
It's new to
That's
you.
all that matter. That's all that matter.
And I had the sunroof, and I had the leopard skin cloth to go over the seat.
The seat covers,
to
go
over the seat.
Yeah.
And she woke up that because my mom's is a chef by trade, and she woke up that Sunday, and you just smelled the whole house, whatever. And my step pops at the time, and she was like, "Yo, we going to the beach," and she cooked all the food to go to the beach, and it was me, my ex, her and my step pops, and we go out to Jones Beach. And I'm not even a real good driver at that time. I'm like an kind of driver. But,
yeah.
But they made me feel like I was a great driver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the four of us that day was one of the great days, one of the great Sundays of my life. Because here I am on a double date with my moms and my pops.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They on their blanket over there. We on our blanket over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a hot July day. I drove.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those days. So 94 holds, bitter and sweet memories to me, forever. That's gonna last forever. And that was one of those days because my stepfather, he passed away some years ago, whatever. But it was just one of those days that you just remember that it was a perfect day. It was a perfect Sunday. And yeah, so 94. So we remember 94 for more ways than one.
No doubt.
More ways than one.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. So I lost bread on that. Lost money.
Of course.
Lost money because at the beginning of the season, people thought it would be the Phoenix Suns and the Supersonics in the Western Conference Finals,
right?
And us and the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals,
yep.
Right? And dudes were saying it's going to be the Hawks and the Supersonics because they were really back then. They just wanted to see two fast-paced teams running up and down the floor, throwing lobs, and all they wanted to do was see lobs and three. Imagine that people want to see lobs and 3-pointers. Back then. That's what they wanted to see, right? Either way, you was gonna get lobs. Either way, lobs and 3-pointers if Phoenix or Seattle won, right?
Yep.
But you wasn't gonna get that if the Knicks won, right?
Right.
And so the season plays out, man. Pat is having a man type season. You can tell he got an injury. He playing through it. It's not his greatest season, but John Starks emerges out of nowhere and is balling. And Oakley matches him. Oakley is balling, but I don't know if all three of them made the All-Star team or just two of them made the All-Star team.
All three.
Yeah. So I remember after the All-Star break, John Starks catches absolute fire. Catches fire right after. As soon as the All-Star break is over, I think the Knicks were down 11 to a team, and I can't remember what team. But back then, an 11-point lead, right now it's like a 25-point lead nowadays.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're down by 10 or more, you lost.
Basically. You were done.
So we was down by 11, and John Starks comes down, and I can't remember the name of the team or the game, but I think he comes down and hit 3 threes in a row and get us back in the game. And the Garden is going bananas. The music blaring. We down by 2. The other team looking shook, like they don't know what to do. Because when and so this is a news flash. When the Garden get loud, it's the legit the sixth man.
It is.
When the they're screaming 2 words: defense.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. When the Garden be rocking, you cannot hear yourself think in there, right? And so Starks wins the game. He don't hit the game-winning shot or none of that, but he's a catalyst to the comeback, right? And it's the newspaper had some kind of lightning strikes or something crazy about Starks. And then Starks comes out the next game and just has a good game, scores like 27 or something like that. And so this is snowballing towards the end of the season. And then Starks goes up to dunk. Now, remember I told you about the Atlanta Hawks, right? Starks goes up against the Atlanta Hawks to try to dunk, and they push him down, and he get hurt. He got a grade 2 MCL sprain. Right? Tries to play through it. They try to take him off the court. He's like, no, I'm straight. And he walking, limping, putting a hand on the ground, can't even stand up. And Panic like, yo, you hurt. He's like, no, man, I'm good. And they have to scrape him off the court. Right? And we don't see Starks no more for the rest of the season, right?
Yep.
Pat Riley tells Jeff Van Gundy, hey, tell Starks he's not gonna be on the playoff roster. We're gonna go with Blackman and Hubert Davis at the guard rotation. Right? And Van Gundy goes in the training room where Starks is cussing out the trainers. And that's my little part. I don't know if that's true. I'm just adding my little sauce to it. Starks in there cussing out the trainers, whatever. Get me ready for the playoffs. And Van Gundy come in there and it's like, John, man, listen, I got something to talk to you about. And he's like, yo, I'm ready for the playoffs, man. And Van Gundy is like, Pat sent him in there to tell Starks that he ain't gonna be on the playoff roster. And he look in Starks' eyes and you're trying to tell him, and he can't tell him.
Can't do it.
And so Van Gundy goes back to Pat Riley like, man, I'm crazy. You tell him. You know what I'm saying? This is me adding a little sauce to the story. I don't know.
I got you.
But anyway, during the playoffs, you can see Starks gutting it out the entire way through the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Gutting it out the entire time. And then in game, I think it's game 2 of the NBA Finals, starts to you can see Starks catching fire. Like
Starts catching fire. Yeah.
You can see Derek Harper is doing his thing, but Derek Harper is doing his thing, but he can't carry the Knicks because Pat is being neutralized by Olajuwon, and there's no harm in that. Ain't no harm in that. I'm not disparaging Pat, right? What I'm saying is the defense was focused on stopping Pat.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Pat had 37 blocks in 7 games.
And Pat was stopping Pat.
Yeah.
Keep it a boot.
Okay. All right. But Oakley did not show up.
Oakley did not have a good finals.
No, Oakley was getting roasted on that 18th.
Their front court overall, Charles Smith didn't have a good finals. Oakley didn't have a good finals. Mason had a
in spurts. Yep.
In spurts. If truth be told, Derek Harper would have been MVP of the finals.
Yeah. Because
game in, game out, he had the best.
Start to finish, he was consistent.
Start to finish, he had the best. But, and I seen Derek on, shout out Knicks Fan TV. Right. He was talking about it. And Derek over the years, and I hate to do this, I hate to bring this up, a couple of times over the years, has looked back and has talked about if they had won, he would still be in New York, blah, 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 blah. And he said a couple of things about Pat over the years, some digs and jabs.
He's greasy. Yeah.
Some greasy things. And I'm like, Derek, put on the footage from game 3. End of 4th quarter, last minute and a half. You leave Sam Cassell open once, but twice.
Yep.
For 2 dagger threes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We prided ourselves on man-to-man defense. You had no business playing halfway, when you got that, which I call the Carmelo Anthony mid-zone, where you're kind of like in nowhere. You're playing space and not the man.
Right.
And when you went into the middle from top of the key, and I still remember it like yesterday, and I went back to look it up just to remember, and YouTube has it. So fans, if you doubt what I'm saying, look it up on YouTube. And they kick it out to Sam Cassell, who's a rookie, and Sam hit it not once but twice.
Yeah.
And that was Derek's man.
Yeah.
We should have beat them in 5 games.
Should have. Yeah.
Because they should have lost 3 straight in the Garden.
Yep.
but they took the advantage back in Game 3 because of that game and a Hugh Hollins baseline screen call against Ewing, which I still remember.
Yeah.
But I say this to Derek, and he apologized to Pat and so forth. But my thing is, you should never have had to apologize to Pat.
Because you shouldn't have never said it.
Because you should never said it, because you know what? You had dirt. And when he said it on Knicks Fan TV, Sarge, I guarantee you, I promise you, as soon as he said it, I went to look for the footage.
Yep.
Because I knew I wasn't crazy.
No
and
doubt.
I knew it wasn't, and I knew, because 20 years, your memory gets
It's a long time. It's a long time.
Yeah.
I went to look for the footage, and I found it. And I was like, that's your man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they kicked it out to him, you were supposed to be Derek Harper defense, right? Because you remember Derek Harper defense.
Yes, sir.
When he get up on you,
Hand check.
He was
gonna hand check you to death.
Yes, sir.
He done put Kenny Smith in hand check protocol.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
Right? You left him open. So when he had that interview on Knicks Fan TV, I mean, I could not sleep. I was searching for it, and I found it because he upset my core.
Right. That team, bro.
He upset my core the way Oakland upset my core talking about Pat.
I'm with you.
See what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, we love y'all.
Yeah.
Where's the love for one another?
Between each other, yeah.
Right.
For real.
Between each other.
Yeah.
Where's the love?
Facts.
Like if I was in the Garden that night and I saw how they was mishandling Oak and I'm close to it, you're probably gonna throw me in jail too.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll be right there with it, for sure.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the memories we intertwined in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This dude didn't go hard for the camera. He went hard because that's just who he was.
Right.
That's in his DNA, for sure.
It's in his DNA. So when I saw that and hear him talk about Pat and then hear Derek double down on it, I'm like, oh my God, where's the love? Where's the love for one another?
But they was clicked up though, AD. There was good. So there was a Pat and Starks click. There was a Pat and Starks click. You know that, right? Because these two dudes was the leaders of the team. And then it's the other dudes that come in that rotated in and out that felt like they should have been sharing more of the load. But Starks,
I never heard Hubert Davis say anything disparaging to the rest of the guys.
Right.
I never heard Greg Anthony say anything disparaging. I never heard Doc Rivers, never heard Herb Williams, Anthony Bonner. I could go down and down and down. It just seemed that there's a certain, even Charles Smith. Who got more disparage and hate more than Charles Smith?
Yeah.
I never heard Charles Smith turn and point to Pat, or turn and point to Starks, or turn and point to somebody else and be like, "Yo, it was your fault. It was this. It was that."
Right.
It's a couple of renegades, and I never thought that Derek was a renegade. I never saw Derek as a renegade. I never saw Derek. So like I said, I've heard him a couple of times over the years. I'm like, yo, D, even if you're not here in New York, you here in New York because you live in our hearts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think that at the end of the day, and this is how you bring things full circle. So if you look at the teams that you're talking about right now with the personnel, some of the same ideologies or idiosyncrasies that we saw then are manifesting themselves now. Because if you look at, so I watched the game, I watched players, right? And just looking at their body language, how they kind of interact with each other. I'm telling you right now, I would go back and watch the footage of the game with Boston in the Garden and watch the look that Julius Randle was giving to Fournier. Now, granted, Fournier was hot, and I'm guessing in the huddle, Tom said, feed Evan, he's hot, give him the ball, right? But I promise you, I'm watching Julius Randle looking there, waving his hand, saying, Evan, give me the ball. Evan never looked in this direction, and Julius threw his hands up, and went back to the other end of the court. Before the ball even left Evans' hands. So I'm like, okay, so there's a problem here. And then the same thing happened a couple times up and down the floor. Now, fast forward to the game last night. Tell me, were you watching Julius's body language throughout that game?
His body language throughout the season has not been good, but you're gonna have moments of that. You see what I'm saying? I remember 20. I think it was 98 or 99, Christmas Day, Knicks Lakers, and Pat is having a great game against Shaquille.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming down to the moments, but he's not the only one having a great game. Chris Childs is having a great game. Right? Chris Childs does not get Pat the ball, and they cut to Pat and Chris Childs exchange as they're going into a timeout, walking off the court.
It ain't good.
Pat is giving him everything.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You could see it. He is telling him,
I'm gonna get you cut.
Yeah, he's telling him everything, right? Yeah. And Chris Childs is looking at him like, and he's just walking off the court. But Pat's having a great game, and Pat wants the ball. Your star player, from time to time, and more times than not, he's gonna have that moment with him. Now, am I mad at him doing that to the Frenchman? No, because the Frenchman didn't put in enough work this season to look dudes off.
I agree.
Right.
But he was hot.
He was. Yeah. But
he was hot.
So we up against it, y'all. It's time for us to cut.
Are we?
It's one, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
This is a great time right here, brother.
Time be flying, bro, when we be on here, man. AD, as usual, it was a pleasure, sir.
It's a pleasure. Sarge, come through whenever. Knicks fan, Knicks family out there in the universe. Let me say this again, that it's always Knicks family for life. I pride myself in saying that this is the realest morning show, that starts the week off, because we on Sundays. So it sets the tone for the rest of the week. Uncle Freezy, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Stay safe, Sarge. Stay safe for the rest of the week. And we're going to see you next week.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.